But I do think if we're going to beat Hillary Clinton this next election, we've got to have a message that says Hillary Clinton is all about Washington. I think in many ways she was the big loser on Tuesday because she embodies everything that's wrong with Washington. We offer a fresh approach. Any of us, now 31 governors across the country, have the executive experience from outside of Washington to provide a much better alternative to the old, tired, top-down approach we see out of Washington, D.C.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's Scott Walker talking about how the elections, what the elections meant, at least to him, that Hillary was the big loser last week. Joining us now is our friend Lanny Davis, lawyer, crisis manager, former longtime special counsel to President Bill Clinton. Hello, Lanny.
Hi, how are you, Steve?
I'm okay. You know, more and more people are stepping forward and saying that this last Tuesday's results actually benefit Hillary. You agree with that, I presume?
Well, I don't really know whether they benefit or not, but what's very amusing is the number of Republicans that are mentioning Hillary Clinton as being harmed by the election. Do you think they're worried? I mean, do you think? They can't take their eyes or minds or voices off Hillary Clinton. I think Governor Walker better have a program that tells us how to solve America's problems and stop obsessing about Hillary Clinton. Seems like they're kind of afraid of her, wouldn't you say?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you know, Reince Priebus, the chairman of the RNC, said that there's nobody that they'd rather run against than Hillary. He said she's a bad politician and would be a bad candidate.
So isn't it interesting how many times Reince Priebus says that he wants to run against Hillary Clinton? You think it's because he's worried about Hillary Clinton? It reminds me of Senator Dale Bumpers on the floor of the Senate when he said in defense of President Clinton on impeachment. So, you know, back in my country, all the Republicans here say, I'll tell you what this is not about. It's not about sex. Well, when someone tells you what it's not about, it's about sex. So bring it on. If you're so obsessed with Hillary Clinton and telling us that she can't be beaten, why do you need to tell us?
All right, so
I mean, it's very amusing. The answer is, of course, that Hillary Clinton wasn't on the ballot, Bill Clinton wasn't on the ballot, Barack Obama wasn't on the ballot. But the American people did put on the ballot Washington, D.C., and its dysfunctionality. And President Obama does have very poor approval ratings and lots of other reasons, including local candidate issues, are what happens in elections. And do you know what happened in 2006? The Republicans got creamed. Do you think Hillary Clinton got any credit for all the people from Reince Priebus when she campaigned for people? I don't think so.
All right. But let me ask you this: as far as Hillary goes, are you convinced that she is going to run?
I'm not convinced. I have not talked to her. I have not asked her the question, but I know her for 44 years, and knowing her as I do, she is a grandmother. She loves her life. She loves her privacy to the extent that she has any. And being a presidential candidate, much less being president, is a big decision. Do I think it's likely? Yes, I do, because she is by far the most qualified of either any Democrat or Republican, but I'm biased, of course. But I think that she has not made her mind up for sure yet, Steve. That's my guess, but I haven't talked to her.
And what about the party, Lanny? I mean, what about the party? Will she get a challenge from the left? And, you know, she got a challenge last time, and it didn't work out well for her.
Yes, she'll get a challenge. I don't know what's meant by left. Bernie Sanders is a liberal. Hillary Clinton has been a progressive liberal, whatever the title you want to give her, ever since law school. But we define liberalism, in my view, as not handing debts over to our children, of being responsible. And Bill Clinton developed a definition of liberalism that gained him electoral votes in border states, in states like Georgia, Arkansas, and Arizona, and I would also add Colorado and Montana. So where is Hillary Clinton? She is a traditional progressive Democrat from Franklin Delano Roosevelt all the way through Barack Obama, but she doesn't agree with all policies of all those presidents. She's got to lay out a vision for the future.
All right, Lanny, great talking to you, sir. We'll speak to you
Steve.
soon. Thank you for your flexibility. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Lanny Davis, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll be back because that's what we do. We come back with more, but first, let's take a look back at Neil Armstrong's first steps. That's right, Neil Armstrong. Remember Neil Armstrong on the moon? You remember what his first words were? Do you remember what his first words were? I mean, that's easy. Robert Klein once said he should have stepped on the moon and said, Coca-Cola! And he would have cleaned up. America's Moment is next. Don't go away.
It was intended to take the roar out of America's roaring 20s, but instead its passage divided the nation and began an era of bootleggers, speakeasies, and rum-running gangsters. When ratified in 1919, the 18th Amendment to the Constitution outlawed the manufacturing, transportation, and sale of intoxicating liquors. Consequently, organized crime was quick to step up and quench the thirst of an eager nation. The Volstead Act gave federal agencies the legal authority to enforce prohibition. But with an average of only 30 enforcement agents per state, the illegal liquor flowed freely. By 1925, in New York City alone, authorities estimated over 100,000 illegal bars were thriving, with customers consisting of friends, neighbors, and lawmakers alike. Still, some law enforcement became famous fighting the booze trade. One was Elliot Ness. As a top agent of the Bureau of Prohibition, Ness led a team of men known as the Untouchables. Tough and incorruptible, they brought down Chicago bootlegger and mobster Al Capone. But bowing to public pressure, in his 1932 presidential campaign, Franklin Roosevelt endorsed the repeal of prohibition. It was later reported, with the Depression in full swing and national morale at rock bottom, then President Roosevelt remarked, "I think we could all do with a beer." With the passage of the 21st Amendment on December 5, 1933, Prohibition was officially repealed, making the 18th Amendment the only amendment in the U.S. Constitution repealed by the passage of another. Still, even with the repeal of Prohibition, many states chose to remain dry, the longest running of which was Mississippi, who didn't repeal their self-imposed prohibition until 1966. For Newsmax TV, I'm Bill Curtis, and this is an American Moment.